Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Slayer Talk. And now your hosts, Mark and Carol.
Oh,
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Slayer Talk. My name is Mark. With me, as always, is my lip-biting girlfriend, Carol. How you doing today, Carol?
Hey, what's up? You want some Scooby snacks?
Sure. Scooby snacks are what, edibles?
Sure. God, are they?
I guess.
I never really thought about that. That makes so much sense.
Why do you think they're always so hungry afterwards?
Good question.
And they see ghosts after.
Right? So paranoid.
whoa, gummies.
Oh my god! What are they? Is there like a when they make edibles? I've never made an edible before, but when they make the special brownies or whatever, is there like a count, like a THC count?
I have no idea.
Like, wow, Scoob, this THC count's way too high.
I don't know how that shit works. I've never had an edible.
Oh, okay.
I've never made one. I've never had one.
All right. I've never done any drugs ever
Right.
of any kind.
Of course. Because you're, Mr. Perfect and pristine.
That's right. I'm 90s wrestler Mr. Perfect. Or 80s, whatever.
I always thought it'd be fun to have an edible, honestly.
Yeah?
Don't you think?
I don't know.
I mean, you combine two things that are delicious.
Eating and pot? What are the two things that are delicious?
Yeah, eating and pot.
Okay. I've never really described pot as delicious.
Yeah, it worked in my mind. It didn't work when it came out of my mouth.
Anyway, we watched, did I say it's December 9th, 1997?
I don't know.
It's December 9th, 1997, everyone.
In case you were wondering.
We watched Buffy. We always do.
Yeah.
Except for weeks that they don't have Buffy, like last week.
Right? And it looks like, according to the TV guide, they're not going to have any more Buffy for a few weeks.
Till the new year. They're off for their holiday hiatus.
I'm sad.
Their Christmas hiatus. Can we say Christmas?
Yeah.
Their Christmas hiatus, everybody. Their Xmas hiatus.
We're going to have a Christmas hiatus coming up here.
Yeah, we do. At the end of the year, we always do our best of episode.
For your listening pleasure.
And then we'll probably take 1 week off.
Like wholly off with nothing?
Well, we might do a 90210 show.
We got it. We can't not release an episode for a whole week.
But the main show probably won't go for a week.
Okay.
We'll do okay best of episode, and then, because we'd like to take like 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
We'll do a best of episode, and then, which I'm currently working very hard on, and then we'll have like a week off of the main show. But Buffy will still, well, not Buffy, because Buffy comes back
in January.
But the 90210 show, because we're just watching the tapes, trying to catch up, that'll still go,
yeah.
I'm sure.
So this episode of Buffy was weird.
I usually do bloopers. Or last year anyway, I did a bloopers for the 2 weeks. I did a best of, and then I did a bloopers.
Yeah.
But we've been too good this year.
Right. No, we've been too lazy. That's all.
So there's not enough bloopers, everyone. Sorry. We're too perfect. We're too Mr. and Mrs. Perfect.
Right. Could just like re-release the first episode or something.
That's actually not a bad idea. Yeah. Like a retrospective.
Put the first episode up on the website. Like, it's there, but I don't think people would ever go back all the way to get to it.
Yeah, some people do. I've heard people have told me they've gone back.
Wow.
To listen to from the beginning, and I'm like, oh my god. We have released over 400 tapes.
So crazy.
And there's more in, secret places. In fact, speaking of that, why don't you listen to this? Hi, everybody. It's your favorite podcasters, Mark and Carol from Retro Leafy Podcast.
Hey, what's up?
We're just popping in here real quick to let you know about our Patreon Patreon.com/retro late fee. Do you love retro late fee and just wish there was always more? Because there is more over there. We've got Back into the Future, where we talk about stuff from nowadays.
Right.
We've got Lost in Time, 1 Day, 1 Year, and we record our thoughts on that like it's the regular podcast.
Maybe we'll do Shakespeare someday.
Exactly. And as a special for you guys, if we get 100 Patreon subscribers, Carol, tell them what they'll get.
Some of you have asked about bringing back the mixtape. The mixtape is where we talk about music that's popular 25 years ago. And it was actually one of my favorite segments to make. So I would love it if you guys would subscribe so we can make it again.
Yeah, if we get 100 Patreon subscribers, we will bring back the mixtape. So go to patreon.com/retro late fee. Help support us and this beautiful creation that we put out for you every week.
So we can keep making more and more episodes. Soon it'll be every day.
All right, now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Later.
Carol.
Mark.
Buffy.
Faces.
What? Three's Company.
What? Yes. Yeah, Jack Tripper was on Buffy.
That's right. The good old John Ritter.
It's so weird.
Jonathan Ritter.
Like, he looks old. Like, when did that happen?
And bloated.
Yeah.
No offense, John Ritter, but you look puffy.
I mean, I imagine that most people look different 20 years later, you know?
Yeah, I guess he's not a svelte, young, 25-year-old man, or however old he was when he was on that show with Chrissy and Janet.
But apparently he shirked.
Mr. Roper.
Apparently he shirked.
Hey!
Sounds like Shaggy.
Whoa, well, what's going on, everybody?
That's Mr. Roper, you know?
Yeah. He must be related to Shaggy.
Or is that Mr. Which one was Don Rickles?
I don't know.
The Ropers was
I think that was Don Rickles.
Norman Fell
Rickles.
and was it?
I don't know.
Mr.
don't know.
Furley. No, Mr. Furley was Don Rickles.
Okay.
Mr. Furley was Don Rickles. The Ropers, which was a spin-off show, but that was like Norman Fell or somebody like that.
Okay.
Yeah. 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 70s.
So, yeah, Buffy's
Far out, dude.
mom is dating him.
She's fucking John Ritter.
She's not fucking him.
I think they've had sex.
Why do you think that?
Why don't you?
Because it's icky.
They've been dating for a little while in secret.
Yeah.
And
Do you think she had sex with a robot?
yeah, spoilers, but yes. I think she fucked a robot. But I mean, is it that much different than using a vibrator, to be honest
No,
with you?
not really. I mean, they're all machines, right?
I wonder, he must be good, right? It must last a long time.
Oh, jeez.
His refractory period is what, the 0.01 seconds it takes for him to reboot or whatever.
So gross. Okay. So I don't really remember.
What is... She's giving you a blowjob, and she's like, why do I taste pennies?
Ugh. Ew.
Oh, my God. He's like, work that solenoid, baby. Now I want.
I'm feeling a little traumatized.
Now all I want to do is write. What did you call it? Fan fiction for Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but it's all having sex with mechanical things.
Wow.
It's mechanical dirty talk.
That'll be the name of a book. Mechanical Dirty Talk.
Because I just think it's funny. Oh, you really
Goodness.
grind my gears.
It could be a coffee table book, I guess.
Yeah, sure. A coffee, yeah. It's a conversation piece.
All right.
Look at this high-class smut I have.
It's high class because it's in a book.
That's right. It's like a book of tasteful nude photographs.
Exactly.
Anyway, well, you know what I always thought was weird is that when we were in school, we were allowed to. I mean, well, how old are we? Who knows? But when we were in school, we were allowed to have National Geographics, and there were naked tribeswomen in that.
Right.
I mean, Is that not a naked human female?
It is.
It always seemed insulting to me.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because it's like saying, well, they're less than human. It's like if an animal was naked in a book, there's no need to censor it. Who cares? It's like, no, that's still a woman. What the fuck?
Well, I guess, but at the same time, that's how they live, and like it's showing that, so that's educational. I mean,
I don't think that it's wrong for National Geographic to print it uncensored. I think it's wrong for the school system to think that horny teenage boys won't be aroused looking at it.
Okay.
Because they're black, African, they're tribes people, whatever reasons they give. As far as National Geographic goes, yes, it's art, it's educational, it's, whatever. I agree with that, but I don't know. I just think it's weird.
So were you aroused looking at these pictures? Is that
Yes.
Because
any boy that's around my age, and again, who knows how old that is, but any boy that's around my age or whatever, I assume that before my age they had National Geographics in schools too or whatever. Any boy that grew up with National Geographics in their school library that says they weren't aroused looking at the naked women in that book are lying. Or virulent racists.
Well, you know what? Context matters to girls, at least. So, because it wasn't arousing to me when I saw naked butts and stuff or whatever, in National Geographic.
No, good for you.
It's just, or the women without the shirts, they look all serious and it's not sexy.
They look all serious.
Is
that a way to get around? So if in Playboy, instead of looking all sexy and everything, if they just stood there naked with their arms crossed, maybe a briefcase in their hand, looking all serious, I'm for business. I have no clothes on, but then they'd be able to get away with that. They could sell the under 18 then.
Maybe.
They looked serious.
How did we get on this subject, Jesus?
Because of Buffy.
Speaking of Buffy, we started out with Cordelia walking by being called Cordy, which you pointed out to me.
That wasn't the very beginning of the episode, but yes, Xander calls her Cordy.
Yeah, which you pointed out to me was
it's kind of like what I said.
Yeah, whatever.
And you said don't shorten her name
because Cordelia is beautiful.
But Cordy sounds like Corgi, which sounds like Porgy, which reminds me of Porgy and Bess, which also is racist.
Wow. Okay.
I think. Is that the one that's racist? I don't know.
Don't know. So that should have been a big red flag.
Sure.
To his friends, but it seems like they don't notice anything.
That he called her Cordy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
That he has a nickname for her. And then he hops up and trots after her like a dog as she's walking by, and nobody questions this.
I guess he more loped after her, but
then he's she yells at him, and then he's want to go make out, and she's sure.
Yeah.
So they're secretly dating too. It's all about the secretly dating in this episode.
I don't know if they're secretly dating.
Well, they're secretly kissing.
Yeah, they're secretly kissing and apparently not having sex, because according to you in your virgin mind, that no one is having sex in the show, because we get one shot of Angle in this show where his hands being bandaged by Buffy. Wow, what a passive sentence that was.
Okay.
Use active verbs, everyone. That's your grammar lesson for today. Anyway, so she's bandaging his hand, and whatever, she's talking, she's lamenting about her mother dating this dude. And then she kisses him, and then we fade to black. And in most shows, that would mean he's got his shirt off, they're kissing, they fade to black, they're having sex. And I said, is she fucking this vampire? Because I have many questions about how that's even possible. And you said, no, I bet she's not. Because she's supposed to be some pristine virgin. It's not 90210. She's not Tori Spelling's character.
Maybe she is. Okay.
What?
I want to know what.
Do you think that Sarah Michelle Gellar is secretly Tori Spelling? She's the greatest actress of all time. she's changed her appearance completely and her behavior and her voice.
Yes.
All right.
I want to know why she's bandaging his hand. Like, he's not supposed to have any injuries.
He got hurt last episode.
But he's a vampire. He's supposed to heal. Like, why does he need a bandage? He shouldn't need a bandage. That's stupid.
Because of the ceremony. Like, it took a lot out of him.
Whatever.
I don't think it's stupid. It makes sense.
All right. Because it was a ceremonial knife that hurt his hand.
Exactly. So it takes a normal human amount of time to heal.
I guess.
And she's Florence Nightingaling him.
If you hear that weird scraping sound, that's our cat literally trying to climb the walls.
Yeah.
Can't do it, baby.
Well, I'm sick of listening to you. I'm climbing the walls.
Our cats are so weird.
Yeah, they are.
And sometimes they just stare at things and there's nothing there. Like, what do you think they see?
Ghosts.
I'm wondering if it's dust.
It's the ghosts of bugs we've killed.
Right? Anyway, sorry, I'm being distracted by our cat.
Yeah.
So Buffy comes home to find her mother making out with a dude in the kitchen.
John Ritter.
Like, she goes to put her key in the lock and the door just opens and she's like, stay here, because she thinks there's like somebody in there.
Right.
Like, why the fuck didn't you shut the door? Were you that hard making out? Like, you couldn't shut the door?
Seriously.
Ew. But yeah, she catches them kissing and it's all like, oh no,
And
so embarrassing.
Yeah, he turns around and he's like, oh, this is just like that episode of Three's Company where there was some sort of misunderstanding.
Right? So Willow and Xander come in and everybody's meeting this dude. And he's being really nice at the time.
Yeah, he seems perfectly put together. Mm-hmm. And he's making food. See,
Yeah.
he's making tiny pizzas that
That
everyone
sounds
loves.
so good. I want a tiny pizza.
He says the key is to, after you bake it, to use a cast iron skillet. That's our cat. Use a cast iron skillet and fry it, essentially, in olive oil and herbs. No, dude. Can't get on the table. Can't get on the recording table.
Goodness gracious, kitty.
Yeah, that should go in the bloopers. That's not going to happen. Just going to go in the regular feed. So, anyway, he says that's the key, and they're all eating it, but Buffy doesn't eat it. And they make such a big deal out of this food. At first, like, almost instantly, I was like, oh, he's a fucking food monster.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah, he's like, don't eat the food, Buffy. Don't eat it.
He's controlling people with food. I became very clear. But then she goes to his job, and he's a salesman, and he's the best salesman in the world. And they call him the Machine. There's a little foreshadowing.
Right.
But he's selling computers and stuff over, and software or whatever, over the phone. And I'm like, I guess, but it would make so much more sense if he did it in person and controlled people with the food. Like, it should,
Because it's magic food.
it should tie in somehow. Well, apparently he's putting ecstasy in his food. Like, he's not, as we pointed out, it turns out he's a robot.
Right.
Built in the 50s.
He's
really
just a
weird.
really good cook.
But he's also putting ecstasy in the food.
He's not. What are you talking about?
That's what they examined the cookies, and Willow said that there was some kind of drug in there, and she said it's similar to ecstasy. It makes people compliant and happy.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Did you miss that?
I did. I fell asleep for a minute.
What?
I didn't think I really missed anything.
You fell asleep?
It was late and I was tired.
It's on at like 9 o'clock at night.
That's late for me when I'm tired.
God. You fucking snuck in a nap without letting me know. What else did you miss?
I don't. How could I know what I missed? I can only know what I didn't miss.
What the fuck?
Actually, I remember that now, though. Like, when you said it, like, it triggered in my brain. Like, I did hear her say it.
Did you see the part where Xander slapped Cordelia's ass?
No.
And then she was like, she gave him this look like, because people were around. she said something, and he was like, gave her a quick like pat, and she looked and was like,
That's funny.
It didn't happen.
Oh. Good for you. Anyway. So he was controlling people with the food.
Yes.
Huh. Okay. All right.
God damn. So it turns out they kill him. I mean, Buffy kills him.
She accidentally pushes him down the stairs when she's beating his ass, and she doesn't know he's a robot.
She doesn't push him. She kicks him down the stairs.
Yeah. Because he hit her. He was a psycho. Every time they're alone, he's really mean to her.
Yeah, what do you think that was about?
I don't know.
How is that programmed into this robot?
I think he just identified her as a threat.
I guess. It's like the Terminator.
Right. Well, she wouldn't eat the food.
If the Terminator, made a great quiche. But yeah, she kicked him down the stairs because she's the Slayer. And then her mom checks his pulse.
Which he obviously doesn't have.
He's dead. You killed him. She admits to killing him to the police.
Yeah, even though her mom was going to cover for her. She said he fell down the stairs.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, did he trip? And Buffy's like, no, I pushed him.
I hit him, she said.
Yeah.
And did your sleeping mind create dialogue?
I guess so.
And so she goes down to the station. That we're not sure. It's weird because there's no real resolution to this. Like if they're going to charge her or anything. But I mean, he comes alive again. Do the cops know this? Is there like just no body? And they're like, oh, he must have been alive.
I guess.
We'll just write this off. Like, what the fuck?
It's very weird. But I mean, I
want to be a cop. I want to see, you know what I want? I want a TV show about the police officers in Sunnydale. What their life is like.
But I mean, I kind of thought they said they weren't going to press charges. Like even before that because he hit her or whatever. But there was no marks to show that. So they were kind of questioning the truth of that. Right. Yeah.
But anyway, so he ends up coming back, and it's revealed he's a robot.
And her mom didn't believe Buffy that he hit her. What the fuck? Like, you think your daughter's just a psycho who's beating his ass? I mean, granted, she is somebody who burnt down a gymnasium, apparently.
Yeah.
But, like, that seems really shitty. Like, that would really... If my mom didn't believe me when I told her something like that, like, I don't think that I could have a relationship with her.
Yeah. She very much takes the android side.
She's not a good mom.
No, I agree.
I mean, she doesn't know what's going on with her daughter ever. She's hardly ever home. She was out of town and she had a vampire sleeping in her house. Like,
yeah.
Get it together, Mrs. Summers.
So he comes back and attacks her and everything, and she kills him. Well, she destroys him because he's a robot. And then I guess no one at his work ever questions why he never comes back. He's just a missing person. Like, how does he have a social security number or a fucking driver's license? Like, I don't understand any of this because what happens is they find his little lair, which is like an underground 1950s radiation bunker, I guess. And he's killed. Well, I guess he didn't kill. He just kept them there till they died.
Well, did he or didn't he? I don't know. He kept replacing his wife.
4 women. So, 4 women he absconded with and married. And they all died. Apparently, and this is all just explained by Xander as they're walking down the hall. I expected Buffy or Willow to turn to him and be like, we know this. We were all there. Why are you saying all this out loud?
Right.
And then just him to point at the camera and be like, it's for them.
Exposition.
But anyway, yeah, it's a lazy way to do this.
Yeah.
But this guy in the 50s was dying, and his wife left him.
Which is awful.
So he poured all of his hard work into creating an android version of himself that could live on. Then he died, presumably. The android went and got the old wife, brought her back, held her there till she died, and then just kept replacing her over the years.
That's so fucked up.
And it would have been like, we could have got, it maybe it would have been a little cheesy, but we could have gotten something like, oh, here's a picture of his original wife. It looks vaguely like Mrs. Summers. Like he was getting similar looking women every time or something like that. But I don't know. It's weird. And as Willow points out, I'm like, So wait, in the fucking 50s, a guy built a fully functioning android that can pass a Turing test and no one knows that it's an actual android?
It's so weird.
It's something they can't do now.
Yeah.
And, yeah, apparently that's the case.
But he had...
Willow's like, oh, he must have been a genius because of this and this and this.
I mean, he must have been a genius, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But he had all 4 of their bodies in, like, a closet or something. Xander found them.
Yeah, not that smart. And what were they, skeletons at this point?
Well, okay, it's only been 40 years. So, and there's 4 women. So
that's
not
like sealed or anything. They're not covered.
Yeah, so, but I mean, it's like 10 years a lady, we'll say.
Sure.
So, like, I mean, probably one of them's like a skeleton, but they're probably not all like a skeleton.
What's he doing to these women that they only last 10 years, by the way?
Oh, you know that robot dick.
I know.
It's got to do some wear and tear.
Oh, my God.
Oh, he was so awful.
Well, yeah, but it's hard to blame him because it's such a weird situation because this guy was dying and he built a robot. Did he mean to build an evil robot? We don't know.
Right.
Was he just trying to like maybe put his consciousness in this robot so he could live on or something like that? I don't know. In his despair and anger over his wife leaving him, did he accidentally or on purpose program some shit into this computer? We don't know. And then the computer is a computer. The robot's a robot.
Right.
So it's hard to blame it, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it's only a slave to its programming.
I don't know. It was really, really fucked up. Like, Buffy thinks she killed somebody. Her mom doesn't believe her about getting hit. Like, I didn't like this episode.
And then he comes back, and the mom's like, what the fuck? And he's like, oh, I was dead for 6 minutes. But they said any longer, and I would have had brain damage. It was a miracle, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, oh, what the fuck? Okay. And then he's glitching because Buffy stabbed him in the arm, which is enough to cause him to start glitching all over the place, which is a little weird. But
well, he also fell down the stairs. Maybe he had some damage from that.
that's true.
I mean, he was knocked out or whatever.
I knew he was a robot when he said, yeah, when you hit me down the stairs, I had to power down for something. He says something like that.
Yeah.
I had to go into sleep mode. And on my face was just a rotating picture of a beach. And he's got a screensaver.
When he hit Buffy, she's like, oh, I was so hoping you'd do that. And then she starts kicking his ass. I don't know why you're hoping. Like, why not hope that this guy's not an asshole? Why not hope that your mom is dating somebody who's not abusive?
Well, I think it was because she'd already suspected all that at that point.
I guess.
But what I think is funny that it wasn't a flag to her is that he hit her and it actually kind of hurt her.
Yeah.
And then when she's hitting him, it's not immediately fucking like caving in his chest. Because I feel like if she went hardcore all out against a human being, that she would murder them fairly easily.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, she thought she did.
But only when he fell down the stairs.
Yeah.
I don't, like, that should have been a flag to her. Like, you're something more than.
Yeah,
whatever.
that's true.
And that Willow and Xander and Cordelia all were like, we gotta fucking find something on this dude because she can't have just killed a regular guy.
Yeah, it's so funny when she tells them she killed him. They're like, oh, what was he? And she's like, human.
Right. Like, no way.
You're not a murderer.
Oh, and we almost forgot. Giles ends up, he talks to Miss Calendar.
Oh, yeah.
And apparently you were looking at me with a blank stare. I guess you missed this, too.
No, I didn't.
He talks to Miss Calendar, and she's basically like, why don't you fuck off? She's like, you know, I can't feel guilty about not wanting to be around you or whatever. You look at me with these puppy dog eyes.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to look at you with dog eyes. I don't think you get it.
He's so weird.
But he ends up going out on patrol because Buffy's not able to because she thinks she murdered a man.
Right.
And Miss Calendar shows up and they fight a vampire together.
And that apparently is really arousing.
I guess it's enough.
Because they're back together now.
Yeah, at the end of the episode, Buffy goes to go into the library, and she's like, "Oh, I'm just going to stop fucking going into places." And then the camera pans over, and they're making out. Calendar and Marie Calendar and Giles.
I'm happy for them. I hope it works.
Me too. I doubt it will, but I hope it does.
Yeah. At least for a little.
Are they fucking? Since
Well, they were
no one else.
They were going to. They had planned to, but they didn't get to.
I think it's funny that you think that this is a show that, unless they explicitly state that they are going to have sex, they're not having sex. It's like in old like 30s and 40s movies when two people are making out by the fire and then they pan over to the curtains. Do you don't understand what the implication is there?
I'm just telling you. They had plans to have sex, and they didn't, and I don't think they've had time to yet. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Not saying that they'll necessarily tell us when they do.
You don't think that
But I think he'll come in with a swagger.
Yeah, okay. So then they will.
I think they'll let us know.
Yeah. Okay, so you just contradicted yourself.
I guess. I don't know.
What you're saying is they're not going to come in with high-res photographs.
Right. Well, I mean, and I also don't think Xander and Cordelia are having sex in the closet. So, whatever.
You don't know?
I don't know. You're right.
I've known people having sex in the closet before. They were homosexual, but I've known it.
Doesn't seem roomy enough.
It's a metaphor.
I understand.
Do you?
Are we back to Mallrats? They're going to do it to me in an uncomfortable place.
That's not what I was referring to. I just meant in the closet as in they were in the closet.
I know what you meant. I know.
But you're going in a completely different area.
Well, because that's where my mind went.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Not implying any sort of things. Disappointed in you.
Thanks.
Expected more.
I don't think
You don't?
the big bad it was in this episode. Spike's the big bad.
The big bad. They talked about him.
But he
They
wasn't
said
in
with,
it.
with Spike and Drusilla gone and hopefully dead. They've now, I guess, they assumed that a piano would kill them like they were a fucking cartoon.
That's ridiculous.
And now I guess enough times passed where they've opened up the possibility that they might not be dead.
We'll see.
And then next episode it's going to be, they're definitely alive.
Well, yeah, when they come in and beat their asses again, sure.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Sure. Okay. Anyway, that's the episode, Carol.
So, yeah, by the time that we have another Slayer talk, it will be the new year, so...
Yeah, Happy New Year, everyone. Merry Christmas, Happy New
holidays,
Year.
all that jazz.
And all that jazz.
So, check out our website at www.retrolatefee.com, and you can write us at latefee1994@AOL.com.
Yep.
Share the tapes with your friends.
All right, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.